Vandeyam Shri Guru Shiyata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishikam Vitam Sya Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyanarshana Shilakaya Chakshurun Militam Yenata Gurave Namah Gurva Bhistam Supurakam Gurganara Sisha Sambhuchitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shirupa Patanugam Govinda Vidamujwalam Varatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Mande Vishwa Guruncha Divyat Bhagavat Premnawe Bija Pradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandavananam Balarka Chelan Sandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyam Buddhim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Banditam Shubharam Maraika Sharanam Nyasishwara Sridharam Vanshakopatarubyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the hidden treasure of the sweet absolute. And this is chapter 4 with commentary, explanation, commentary, translation by Srila Bhakti, Rakshak Sridhar Dev-Goswami Maharaj, based on the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So we're on chapter 4, Jnana-yoga, the path of knowledge. We'll start with text number 18. Karmani akarmaya pashyed akarmani cha karmaya saburiman manusheshu sayukta krishna karma krit. Karmani akarmaya pashyed akarmani cha karmaya na saburiman manusheshu sayukta krishna karma krit. One who sees action within inaction and inaction within action is wise among men. He is a yogi and performer of all actions. So we talked about that a person who's not acting, trying to enjoy the fruits or the results of one's action is actually not engaged in karma, even though he's performing actions, because he's doing everything for the service of the Lord. So Srila Rupa Goswami has said that yukta vairagya means that utilizing everything in the service of the Lord and not for one's own personal enjoyment. So in that sense, even if one is in performing action because he's not doing anything for his own personal benefit or trying to enjoy the result, and we can say he's not engaged in the level of performing mundane actions. So there's inaction within action, and there is also action within inaction in the sense that, first of all, if one is renouncing all activities, including those activities which would be favorable for the development of one's Krishna consciousness, that is actually negative. So there, you could say that there is, even though supposedly the person is renouncing the activities of the world, he's still not relieved from the results of karma because he's not performing anything for the benefit of the Lord. So again, there's an element of, as the Gita says, that exploitation and renunciation are just two sides of the same coin. Then also, again, we can understand that even though a devotee may be refraining from acting. For instance, all of us here now at this time, we're having, because of some pandemic going on in the country and in the world, we're confined to be somewhat inactive. But at the same time, we're still, even though you could say we're inactive, we're still doing service for the Lord in terms of our mind, in terms of our intelligence, and in terms of our desire. And we've seen that one can also serve the Lord on many different levels. One can also serve the Lord on the level of one's mind. And we see that many times persons who are, for instance, maintaining a family, normally it would have been considered that yogis, sannyasis, all these kind of spiritual personalities, they're involved in you could say, the forefront of a supposed spiritual religious movement. But we see that actually, that in the case of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he chose to spearhead his movement not through these kind of figures, but rather through Rup Sanatan, who were outside the mainstream of Hindu society, Haridas Thakur, who was born in a Muslim family, and also Ramananda Roy himself, who characterized himself as being a Sudra. So it wasn't, Mahaprabhu didn't establish or lead his mission through sannyasis or big spiritualist personalities, but he chose to lead the mission through persons who weren't within the mainstream of society. And we can see similarly in Krishna consciousness, the mission in the West, that many of the devotees, although we see, for instance, there's festivals going on, like for tomorrow will be Nrsimha Chaturdasi, which we'll celebrate in the evening. And we're always saying that there are persons who are engaged, sometimes behind the scenes, they're not out in the limelight, so to speak, and they're in the kitchen, they're doing the deity worship. Then there are persons in their homes that are trying to, you can say, instill some faith in their family members about Krishna consciousness, about educating their children and their whole family and engaging them in service. So apparently, in terms of spearheading a movement, you may not see everyone involved. And we heard from Srila Prabhupada, he used to say there was one sign in the railway during the time of the British, and he said that saying was, just keep the wheels moving. That everybody had some role to do, and it may not be on the level of some big glamorized action, but even if you cannot engage overtly in so many activities for Krishna consciousness in terms of the mission, still, if you give your mind and thoughts and your actions in instilling faith in others in Krishna consciousness, that is also to be actively engaged for serving our spiritual master. So apparently, maybe we say we're not seeing those actions, but it may seem, oh, that's pretty inactive. But no, that's also doing some very positive work, even though not being in the forefront of, you're not appearing on any newsreels or anything like that. But it's still very important. Then chapter 9, verse number 19. Yasya sarves samaramba kama sankalpa varjita Jnanagni dagda karmanam tam ahu panditam buddha. One whose every action is without fruit of desire, and who burns all actions in the fire of knowledge, is described by the wise as learned. When we talked about the famous verse from the Gita, Bahunam janmanamante gyanavam mam prapadyante. Bahunam janmanamante gyanamam mam prapadyante Vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sadurlabha. That after many, many births and death, one who is complete in knowledge understands Vasudeva sarvamiti, that everything depends on Krishna, everything depends on the Lord. Vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sadurlabha. Such a Mahatma, great soul, or such a learned person is very rarely encountered. So one whose every action is without fruit of desire and who burns all actions in the fire of knowledge, in the fire of, we can say, knowledge of being a servant of the Lord, is described by the wise as learned. Chaktva karma phala sangam nitya tripto nirashraya karmani abhipravritopi naiva kinshit karoti sa chaktva karma phala sangam nitya tripto nirashraya karmani abhipravritopi naiva kinshit karoti sa. Such a person, giving up attachment to the fruits of action, fully content in the eternal bliss within and free from mundane dependence, though fully active, does nothing at all. Such a person, giving up attachment to the fruits of action, fully content in the eternal bliss within and free from mundane dependence, though fully active, does nothing at all. So here someone has to have some understanding of the nature of Krishna consciousness to be able to understand these verses. That, first of all, how will people in this world give up attachment to the fruits of their action? Everybody is working on the basis of achieving some goal by their activities. And you can say, well, what about people who are humanitarians or altruists? Well, they also have some goal. We can say, although it may not seem mundane, but there is some goal on the mundane level. It's been described that their vision is just one of what you might call extended selfishness. Most people, they will act for their own personal benefit. But we'll see even among animals, they'll act they'll extend that level of selfishness that to their family. We remember reading one, and it's a question of the intent. For instance, the cat. The cat will carry her kittens they'll carry them by the back of the neck, the skin, and carry them from one place to another. And the kittens feel very protected. But an animal like a mouse will not feel so protected within the mouth of the cat. So the same mouth is there, but to the kittens there's no threat. And why? Because then now the level of, doing something for one's own interest has been extended further to one's family members. And that's very common. Even among animals, they will act for the protection of their family. Then if you extend that level out further, it may be for one's countrymen, that one is able to sacrifice oneself even for one's countrymen. If there's a threat to the nation, they'll lay down their life, etc. So in the name of nationalism, that sense of no longer the selfishness is no longer just an attitude just concerned with their own well-being, but first to the family, then to the country. And then there may be even attitudes of wanting to give up one's own interests for the sake of humanity, that one is doing humanitarian work. or even can be some attitude of wanting to save the planet. So, but we can say still, although the level of selfishness has been extended, first from one's personal self, then to the family, then to the nation, then to humanity, then to the whole planet, etc., wanting to protect the earth, etc., which maybe a king will do, etc., or a governor, a person. But we could still say there's still some extended selfishness out there. There's still, because say you want to provide something for humanity, and you want to feed everybody, but what will you feed them? We understand if you're just eating food that hasn't been offered to the Lord, then you're also getting some karmic reaction for that. Or what are you going to feed the populace? You're going to feed them all with meat. Or what will you do? And you see, you're not, just because your attitude, sphere of service has been extended, that doesn't mean that you're not attached to the fruits of your actions, but rather now you're willing to share the fruits of your actions with others. But still, we're not interested. It's a very simple old analogy that you can't water all the leaves and branches of a tree unless you put water on the root. So the root of all existence is the Supreme Lord. So such a person giving up attachment to the fruits of action, meaning serving the Lord directly, and fully content in the eternal bliss within and free from mundane dependence, though fully active, does nothing at all. Then that's the person who is actually very active, but because of their understanding that by serving the Lord, one is serving everyone, then they're not bound up by the fruits or the results of their activities. And Nirashir yata chitatma tyaktva sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvan napnoti kilbisham. Desireless, controlling mind and body by the intelligence and renouncing all possessiveness and acquisition, no sinful or pious reaction is incurred. No sinful or pious reaction is incurred by such a person who may act to acquire mundane objects merely for his bodily sustenance. Desirelessness, controlling mind and body by the intelligence and renouncing all possessiveness and acquisition, no sinful or pious reaction is incurred by such a person who may act to acquire mundane objects merely for his bodily sustenance. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Nirashi, desirelessness of control, mind and body, chakta sarva parigraha, and a renouncer of all possessiveness and acquisition. That person does not incur kilbisam, sin, kurvanapi, although he performs shariram karma, action for bodily sustenance, kevalam, only. So here it's mentioned that such a person is not concerned about either pious or impious activities, because piety is punya. It's different from sukriti. Sukriti means performing spiritual actions. So even if one has to work just to have a job to maintain one's own body or one's own family, the person is not bound up by the results of karma. Because that person, sure, everyone has to work. Everyone has to do some activities for their own bodily maintenance. We see that devotees sometimes will have some menial or even meaningless job that they have to do in order to be maintain their family. But because their actual objective is that they're working and they're dedicated to the service of the Lord, even though they may have to perform some activities just to maintain their body and soul together, they're not bound up by the results of those activities. Okay. Yadricha labha santushto dvanvatito vimatsara samasida vasido cha kritvapina nibhadyate. Content with whatever is readily available and unaffected by dualities of pleasure and pain, attraction and aversion, such a person has no envy. He is equipoised, neither elated nor dejected in success or failure. Neither elated nor dejected in success or failure. Though active, such a person is not bound by any action. So, what can you say? We are doing activities in the service of the Lord, and we are not concerned because actually we're not controllers of the results of our activities. We may perform an activity in the service of the Lord, but it may be a complete failure. We may not get the result which we intended. Or it may be very successful, but we're not bound up. If it's very successful, we're not just elated that is so happy that it has happened according to our plans. And if it's a failure, we are not deeply dejected by that, because we will do our actions in service to the Lord, but we are not controllers of the results of the activities. Whether something is very successful or not outwardly very successful, I mean, ultimately, was thinking, what's that saying in Spanish? It says about santos no pueden. ¿Tú conoces? Si el Señor no quiere, santos no pueden, or algo así. What?
Algo así, pero no recuerdo.
And the idea is that if the Lord doesn't desire, even though it may be a saint's desire, it may not happen. It may not be successful. We're working for the satisfaction of the Lord, but we are not controllers of the results of our activities. Whether the result of the activity, that is the prerogative of the Lord. The Lord can decide whether you'll be successful or not. Yeah, like that. Content with whatever is readily available and unaffected by dualities of pleasure and pain, attraction and aversion, such a person has no envy. He is equipoised, neither elated nor dejected in success or failure. Though active, he is not bound by any action. So as you said, we have the saying, man proposes and God disposes. So you may propose, but whether that action will result the way you plan, that's not within your control. God disposes. And although we will say also, sometimes even if the Lord doesn't want, if a saint desires, it may happen. Because that's the great souls. Gata sangasya muktasya jnana-vastita chedasa yagya charata karma yagya charata karma samagram pravaliyate gata sangasya muktasya jnana-vastita chedasa yagya charata karma samagram pravaliyate. For one who is detached, enlightened, and liberated, all his actions performed in the spirit of sacrifice are perfectly dissipated. For one who is detached, enlightened, and liberated, all his actions performed in the spirit of sacrifice are perfectly dissipated. Commentary. the actions of one practicing the yoga of selfless action do not lead to apurva, as considered by the philosophers, known as karma mimamsaka. Karma mimamsaka means that if you do your actions, God will have to give, the result will come, and what has it really got to do with? That was one of the things when Krishna was telling them not to do the yajna, the yajna for Indra, which got Indra so angry. One of the things that Krishna said is something like karma mimamsaka. He said, if you just work hard, then the result will come. What has it got to do with Indra? But that's not exactly our philosophy, but Krishna convinced people by saying that. So the actions of one practicing the yoga of selfless action does not lead to apurva, as considered by the philosophers, known as karma mimamsaka. According to their ethical yet atheistic ideology, the karma mimamsakas, or mundane rationalists, claim that pious actions produce an unseen, subtle potency known as apurva, which must fructify at the appropriate time after death. Their conception that the fruit can later be shared by others is meant to show the eternality of karma or action, but it ignores the presence of the supreme autocrat. So the statement of Sri Krishna, samagram pravaliyate, all actions are dissipated, ought not to be misinterpreted to mean that the actions of liberated souls cause some such remote worldly consequence or apurva. Rather, the Lord indicates that the actions offered to him by the selfless karma yogi do not cause any subsequent reaction to be either enjoyed or suffered by others in this mundane plane. So, we are really not interested at all in punya. We're not interested in the results or the fruits of our activities. So there may be a class of people that think even the results may be later seen, even if they're not seen immediately. That's not the devotee's concern. We're not interested in accruing what's known as punya, or the results of pious activities. All our actions are focused on the satisfaction of the Lord. So the statement of Sri Krishna, samagram pravaliyate, all actions are dissipated, ought not to be misinterpreted to mean that the actions of liberated souls cause some such remote worldly consequence or apurva. Rather, the Lord indicates that the actions offered to him by the selfless karma yogi do not cause any subsequent reactions to be enjoyed or suffered by others in this mundane plane. So it's a whole different plane of action, and it's not with the intention of producing some unforeseen result which will be later enjoyed by others. And there are many theories like this. I remember when I was younger, I saw so many things about how certain leaders, they were called the vanguard of intelligent persons, and they were years ahead of their time, and they would put into effect actions which would later not be, which immediately would not be appreciated maybe, but which would have later changed the whole course of collective consciousness and all that. But that's not we're not concerned on the level of action and reaction, or trying to uplift the level of the level of so-called mundane consciousness, etc. We're interested in Krishna consciousness. We're interested in those activities which are service to the Lord and which will benefit others by giving them some understanding of their eternal relationship with the Lord. And as mentioned here, we're not really concerning ourselves with the fruits of activities, nor the pious or impious enjoyable results, or anything of that level. That's not our concern. So I talked before about that, about how, this conception that others have of, they are thinking of benefit of other persons, but they're not understanding that their consciousness is still mundane. It's just a level of extending sense gratification, not just to themselves, but to others. But that's not our concern. We're not interested. We're not interested in, we're considering that, for instance, feeding the poor. All right, so many poor people may be fed, but that is not the concern. We may give Krishna prasadam out to people, and they will get benefited by taking the prasadam, because that will be for their eternal benefit. Or somebody may open up a hospital, and they may be doing punya, some pious activities, by performing actions to help the sick, etc. But if they will do, in the course of either feeding so many people or benefiting so many persons with their hospital, if they will serve one pure devotee and benefit that person, then their actions are actually on a whole different level. So our concern is on the level of the service of the Lord and His devotees, and if we can benefit others by giving them some attraction to Krishna consciousness, or some understanding of how they can apply principles of Bhagavad Gita to their own life, then that will be positive. But we're not concerning ourselves with just activities which we'll be doing, so-called good for others, like, feeding the poor, opening hospitals, digging wells, planting trees, all these kind of things. And those may be pious activities, but a devotee is not concerned on the level of piety. Our concern is, just like we have Sri Chaitanya, Saraswat, Seva Ashram. Our concern is Seva. And Seva means not just serving others, but our Seva is concentrated on the service of the Lord and His devotees. And when Govinda Maharaj used to travel, he said, I'm here to see my family and friends. But his friends was very cumulative. That would include everybody, because he'd see everybody as his friends. But he's here to associate with his family and friends, and his level of association is on the plane of service and giving Krishna consciousness to others. And he saw that as a service to his Gurudev. So that is our consideration. Anyway, I'm speaking a little esoterically, but this chapter is called Jnana-yoga, the path of knowledge. Now we're talking about activities, but there is obviously, these activities are within the plane of spiritual knowledge, because why they are being discussed in the chapter which is about Jnana-yoga. So you're supposed to be able to see within your actions where is the actual level of consciousness, and where is the service to the Lord within those actions. That's why here, previous chapter we heard was Karma Yoga. Now this chapter is Jnana-yoga. So there is a development through the Bhagavad Gita, and every chapter is going more and more developed through the chapter, dealing with the utilization of actions and knowledge in the service of the Lord. So I'm going to stop here. We started a little late, but tomorrow we'll be in the temple. Normally on Wednesday we have our class given by Arun Krishna. But tomorrow our program will be dedicated to Nrsimha Chaturdasi, the celebration of Lord Nrsingadev's divine appearance. So anyone who wants to join with us will.
What time Arti do you tomorrow?
Arti should be about 6 o'clock tomorrow. And then we'll go on because we want to be able to have the program, and I believe the twilight is around 8 o'clock, somewhere around there. So we'll start with Arti at 6 and then sing some, Das Avatar and some other things, and then we'll hear about the glories of Mahaprabhu and Lord Nrsingadev. And now, of course, I talked to Bhakti Bandha Puri Maharaj, who was Rajaram before. He's in Nrsiнгapali. He's there tomorrow, and right now is actually tomorrow there for us. So their Nrsinga Chaturdasi is starting, and he said they're expecting Acharya Maharaj to arrive there to the Nrsinga temple tomorrow, or today there, a little later for them. He will arrive and they will have their Nrsinga Chaturdasi program.
Will they have a crowd?
I don't know. I think they can't, just like us. I think India's in lockdown till mid-May, May 17th or something.
You know what I saw today in India? They have these things like tongs that reach out to touch people to put them up in the paddy wagons if they've not done social distancing. Like a big tongs.
Thongs.
Did you see it?
Arresting thongs, okay.
Yeah. It was really weird.
Well, we use those songs. We use songs for taking pakoras out of.
Like the clippers you used to pick up stuff off the floor, great big ones, grabbing people.
Okay.
It was really funny.
Unusual times. But now we'll sing Hari Harai. Oh, I can't use. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Ganadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raguna Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raguna H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jao Ete Vignana Shabishta Puran H.I. Gosai Jar Mui Taradan Dasabar Padarenu Mora Panchagram Adher Charana Sevi Bhakta Saniban Janame More Abilan H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilaman Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakan Anand Deva Lohari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman Vaishnava Pad Padma Koryas. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamuna. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koryas. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamuna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhara Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramansa Paramajakacharyasta Tarasada Shishi Mad. Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramansa Paramajakacharyasta Tarasada Shishi Mad. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Sananta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premzigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Vishvabaranya Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Ram Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Shri Koladvip Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Soquel, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Brinda ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gol Gopi Govardhan Sham Guna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Ju ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai. Tomorrow Shri Nrsinga Chaturdasi ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj ki jai.